What's up, everybody? I am here to review Joker's new movie, Folie, Deux, I believe it is, and it's pronounced that. I think I pronounced it right. It's also a French term that means madness between two or shared madness, but I believe the first madness between two is the actual meaning of that. And I've been seeing so many people talking shit about this movie, calling it trash, saying it's the worst movie they've ever seen. And I'm just going to clear that up right now. It is definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen. It is far from the worst movie I've ever seen. And I actually enjoyed it thoroughly, and I hate musicals. This is considered a musical. I didn't think it was a musical, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, this movie is not as bad as everyone keeps saying it is. It's not that bad. And understand this as well. The first Joker movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time. From the cinematography and the score, everything about that movie, I just love everything. So I was really skeptical about them making a second one. This is from a guy who didn't want a second film at all. Like, I didn't want a second Joker at all. There's no need for it when you have a flawless first film. Simple as that, so for everyone who's salty and for everyone who's dragging this movie through the mud, you got what you wished for. You got what you wished for. All the people who wanted a second movie, you got what you got. If you're pissed off, you have no one to blame but yourself, man, because we didn't need a second movie. But now that we have one, I'm here to tell you it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. I actually enjoy it, and I'm actually going to do a movie breakdown in a future video of the whole movie, start to finish, and why I like it, and why I think it's actually a really good movie. And I'm just going to give you my score right off the bat before we get into the nitty-gritty, but I give this a solid 8 out of 10. This is an 8 out of 10 film. It is great from start to finish. It kept me entertained. But yeah, I really think this movie is just getting a bad rep because it's nothing like the first one. So if you loved the first film and you didn't want a second film, you might love this second film. You might be like me. You might be the 10% of the people who actually don't drag this movie through the mud and actually enjoyed it. Because I really did. I didn't want a second film, as I said, but now that we got one and now that I watched it, I'm like, okay, I can go with that. Like, all right, great. I kind of had to sit on it for a little bit. It's one of those movies you have to marinate on. But it was great. And if you love the first film and you didn't want a second film, you're probably going to like this. But if you wanted a second film, you probably hate this. You're probably already seen it. You probably hate it. You're probably one of the people dragging it through the mud. It's whatever. You don't like it. Fine. I'll keep it. I'll keep it and I'll enjoy it and I'll watch it over and over again. I've already seen it twice. It's, it just came out. I've already seen it twice. I am going to watch it a third time. Where I'm going to break down the film so I can get all the scenes right, so I could do it in order. But I just want to say, for everyone who hasn't seen it yet, go watch it if you love the first film. Go watch it because it does fill out the story a little more. You do get more of that universe. You get more of that dark undertone too, like the score of the first film, which is what I was worried about. Like, are they going to have the same kind of grittiness to it like the first film has? And you have that, definitely. You also have this musical aspect, which, as I said, I hate musicals. Hate them. Other than like Willy Wonka and like the classics. I can't stand musicals. I can't stand like the live action musicals. I can only go for like the Disney, cartoon musicals, but that's besides the point. I hate musicals, and I actually thought the musicals in this felt really on point to captivate the story, to captivate where it was going. And I'll talk more about that, my spoiler breakdown. But this is just spoiler free for everyone who hasn't seen it. It does have the same elements from the first film, but if you're expecting it to be like the first film, as far as like the Joker actually embodying that energy and living it throughout the whole story, it's not like that at all. And I think that's what a lot of people had a problem with. So really what it is a story of Arthur. An Arthur after the events of the first movie. And it actually starts with this really cool art, like cartoon, that kind of plays into where he's at now in the story. It's like it reenacts the end of the story and like him on stage on Murray and like he's dragging like his shadow self behind him. It's just really cool, like cartoony, like funny, not caring about anything film. And understand, like, this movie doesn't care about anything. Like, understand that. Like, this movie is very Joker-esque because it doesn't care. You don't know what it's like, where it's going. It's kind of choppy in some places, but I think it works in favor of the film. Actually, I think it's actually helps the film, which a lot of people, gripe about. But ultimately, it's talking about Arthur story, and pretty much it's him on trial for the events that happened in the first one. And he has this lawyer who's trying to convince people, the jury, that he has this split personality called the Joker. So it's really battling this idea the whole time that Joker is a split personality from Arthur. Like, they're two separate beings. And that's kind of the gist of it. And that plays more into like the spoiler section when I get into the discussion and the breakdown in another video. But that's a real key component. Like, him battling, like, not really being in the Joker. He's back in like the old Arthur before he really embodied the Joker at the end of the first film. He really steps into his madness, steps into the role, starts dancing down the stairs. Like, so many iconic scenes. You're not going to get any of that in this at all. So, but because it's more about battling this idea of the Joker, the concept of the Joker. What does the Joker actually mean? Like, to people, like to the people who idolize Arthur, because a lot of people idolize him now because of what he's done. He's started like riots. A lot of people are wearing masks. It's still the same craziness from the last one where everyone's wearing a mask and going to the riots and protesting. It still has that same energy. You don't see it a lot because he's in the cell. It's mostly focused on his life. But as the title says, shared madness, or a madness shared between two, or however that saying is actually properly translated. But it has Harley Quinn in it. And Harley Quinn is played by Lady Gaga. She does an amazing job. That's another thing I'll say about this film. Start to finish, the acting is amazing. I love that. It's still the acting from Joaquin Phoenix that is so amazing. And then you have Lady Gaga, who actually kills the role, and it's actually my favorite film she's been in. And she kind of steals the show in this, to be honest. She kind of does steal the show in this, and I am more intrigued about her character by the end than I am about Arthur's. But that's part of the progression of it, like, and I'll get more into that. But ultimately, it's about his story. He's on trial, and he's juggling this idea, or, his lawyer is trying to convince the jury that this isn't Arthur that did this stuff. This is Joker. Like, it's his split personality. His personality is fractured because of all the stuff he went through. And you got Harley, who's the love interest, obviously, and she pretty much is like his stalker and encourages him, because before she enters the movie at all, he's just like Arthur. He's not Joker. He's not in the same energy. Like, I don't care. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to kill myself. But instead, I'm going to shoot Murray. He's not in that energy. He's really ran down. I think he's been in prison a while too. Like, I think Arkham, I think it's been like 2 years that this movie happens after the events of the first one. I could be wrong. But so he's ran down, and it starts with like them saying like, Arthur, you got a joke today? And he's just not talking. He's very like in his stuff. He doesn't talk at all. He's just in his stuff, and then Harley comes in, and he starts to like, she starts to like get his attention, and she does like this little, that thing from the first one. And so he starts to like, oh, okay, what's up with this chick? And the more they talk, the more they interact, she's like influencing him to step back into the Joker role. Like, she's influencing him to give back into the side that everyone loves. Like, all the people are rioting for, all the people are idolizing him for, like, because without her, that side of him would be dead. Like, would be completely dead. So really what it is, it's like she's really helping him, but also at the same time being really manipulative and like self-centered and selfish. And they kind of talk about that. And there's even this really cringy part. I'm not going to say it, but there's one cringy part, but it got remedied at the end because of everything that happened. But I was like, oh man, but there's a couple cringy parts, but because how it builds up at the end, because it has the same build up like the first one. But I think what it is instead of like this glorious, like him stepping into the Joker, it's like a different kind of build up that leads into something else. And people did not like that at all. But understand that this does have a twist at the end. It does have a shift in the third act that completely took me for a ride. I loved it. And I also love the idea of like Joker's this might be this energy that people need. Like, and it's pretty much Arthur battling that too. Some of that where he's like, am I even this guy that everyone's worshiping? Like, I love the attention. I love the praise people are giving me. But am I even really that? Or am I just playing a role? Like, am I really just acting like I'm that? Like, I can't tap back into that energy. So he's kind of dealing with that. And I'm trying not to keep this spoiler free. But that's pretty much what I'm going to say about this. I'll get more into the nitty gritty breakdown in a little bit. This will actually be after this video. Probably tomorrow or something. I'll film that. But the full breakdown of everything, his whole transformation, everything he's fighting, why the songs are in it. And as I said before, the songs in it. So if you hate musicals, this might work for you. I mean, if you like the first film and you hate musicals, this might work for you. It worked for me. I hate musicals. I love this film. I love the music parts. I heard a lot of people said there's too many music parts, but I felt like every single music part adds to the actual idea of like where it's getting to at the end, but you have to kind of read between the lines of the movie. It does require thinking, and it is very slow paced. So if that's not kind of your thing, then you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if you do enjoy like the more artsy thinker thrillers, this might be right up your alley because it does make you think, and the songs do play a part. Like everything has meaning. It looks chaotic from the outside, but if you actually are able to analyze it, everything has a purpose that's all leading to the conclusion in the end. And that's all I really want to say. Movie was fantastic. Go see it. And don't believe everything you hear. Because everyone was telling me the movie was shit. I said I had to go see it for myself. I loved it. Saw it again. And I'm going to see it a third time. Not because it's a bad movie. Because I think it's really good. And I want to analyze it more. I think I have it mapped out, though. I think I have it for the discussion that I'm going to get into. But that's really it. 8 out of 10. Go watch it. Recommend it. And if you hate me for that, if you go see it and I just wasted your time, it's whatever. Good. You're probably one of the people who wanted the film and wanted the second film. So, I mean, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve, people who hate the film, because you got it. And I kind of like that joke, that inside joke that he plays on the audience and the trolling he does on the audience as well at the end, which, a lot of people don't care for. I'm here for it. I loved it. I got trolled and it felt great. But the movie was great, and I'll get more into the deep dive discussion in a later video. You guys take care.